Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're prepared to exercise your minds with this week's episode of Strata-Gym. I'm your host, Andrew Freeman, and I've got some strategy experts with me breaking down your favorite 40K and Age of Sigmar armies, so you can go out and destroy and conquer your friends or foes. On a legal note, none of the things said in this show represent Games Workshop or any of its affiliated companies. This show is in no way affiliated or owned by Games Workshop. This show is created by two guys in a small broom closet that enjoy nerding out to OP formations that put so much cheese on the board it makes grown men cry. All right, let's begin. Today I have with me Josh Dady. Tell the listeners how you got into the hobby and why you picked the Dark Eldar.
I've been in this hobby for probably 12 years because I like toy soldiers. They're pretty wonderful. Dark Eldar, I just love the aesthetic. I've loved them through thick and through thin. They are my fave.
You've been doing something for the last year. You've been challenging yourself with painting your miniatures. Tell people about that.
For the last year, I've been working towards painting a complete Harlequin army. Lots and lots of tiny little diamonds. Basically, I see diamonds in my sleep.
And you won, not but a month ago, I think. You won an Inner Circle event at your local Games Workshop.
Yeah, I did take top prize at my local GW Inner Circle for my Harlequins and Dark Eldar combined.
Now, Josh is actually helping out with the podcast as well. He's going to be a producer because he knows a lot of people, and that actually helps me. I know local people, but I don't know too many people outside the circle of this domain.
We're going to spread the word.
Yeah, we're going to go worldwide. World domination. But we also got word today of codexes, which is going to change everything. Of course, thank you, GW.
Everything always changes. You got to stay on your toes.
Yeah, they're doing that because they're releasing things a lot faster than what used to be did back in the day.
It's the best time to be in the hobby. I'm loving it.
All right, let's move on to core reps of the show, where we really start working out the core. The Emperor protects! Alright, now Josh, Dark Eldar are very tactical, very difficult to learn or be very good at, I guess would be a term you could use. How do you start building your army, like, right off the bat, just to be competitive?
They're one of those armies that doesn't, on the surface, immediately jump out at you as being good. It really comes down to, as with any army, using your core to its best possible effect. Taking those troops and being as efficient with them as possible. And from there, using your HQs to enhance those troops. And kind of splashing in the other stuff. That's how I love to build my armies. It's getting the troops to do most of the heavy lifting, and the specialty units are there to fill in the corners.
Now, not all armies are created equal, and you can't just always grab a start collecting box off the wall. How do you build that core, that strong core that can withstand any Space Marine or Necron army that comes at you?
Well, Dark Eldar don't withstand anything. They're made of paper mache. You do two things well. You hit hard and you move fast. So you have to kind of work around that. I really like Dark Eldar warriors in transports, whether using Venoms or Raiders. I tend to prefer Raiders personally because I like smashing a couple of squads into them so you get more special weapons, more bang for the buck there. But you have to be in transports to stay mobile. That keeps you out of the enemy's hands, where they will tear you apart, and it lets you use your weapons to maximum effect where they are most useful.
Now, what do you put inside your transports to start out with?
Personally, I really love Dark Eldar warriors, just the standard Kabbalite warriors. They're really shooty. Each one has a poison weapon standard. It's going to wound anything that's not a vehicle on a 4-up. So we can kill anything. We love fighting big monsters. They die good.
So anybody starting out with the Dark Eldar, anytime you're going against a force, you do not want to dig your heels in as a Space Marine would?
No, you have to stay on your toes. If you're pinned down, you're probably going to lose. You can't win a slap fight with a Space Marine. It's not possible. You're not going to win a slap fight with orcs. They will beat you, period. But you can move faster than either pretty much all the time. So stay mobile, stay light, hit hard, and hit where your firepower will be to greatest effect.
Now, with the new indexes, what kind of abilities are you looking for with your infantry that really help you out?
The abilities that my infantry have, and really the codex as a whole, anything that's not a vehicle in my book has what's called Power from Pain. And it's a chart that gets you get progressively more powers as the game moves forward into the turns. You start out with a 6 or 6+ wound mitigation. You get to roll against any wound you take. That includes mortal wounds. So even armies that dish out a ton of mortal wounds, whether it's through smite or other shenanigans, you can mitigate that almost as well as you can mitigate bolter fire. And that's fantastic. It makes us really very effective against armies that usually punch above their weight class. When it comes to fighting against bolters, I'm scared of those Space Marines. They're real good against me.
And then when your troops are in the transport, what abilities do your transports have that can really tear a person apart?
Both transports are very fast. The big one, the Raider, carries a heavy weapon option. Well, they're assault weapons now, so I get to move and fire them at full effect. Even if it's a heavy weapon, it
always
counts
a bonus.
as assault. And they're super fast, just bananas fast, and they have invulnerable saves. So we're more durable than our toughness of 5 would indicate. We're crazy fast, so we can get right where we need to be to deliver the firepower. And they're all open-topped, so all of the troops inside can always fire. The smaller transport, the Venom, is slick because it's harder to hit. The enemies suffer a -1 to hit that guy. Especially useful against armies that have a lot of low-strength firepower, because that can bring them down. But if orcs need a 5 to hit normally, suddenly need a 6 to hit, that cuts your number of hits in half.
Now, we've gone over your infantry, we've gone over your fast attack. What key warlord in that starting army do you have that really pulls it all together?
When playing warriors, I really like the Archon, because you can kit him out with a blaster. It's a ranged special weapon that's really good at tearing up vehicles. He comes with a 2+ invulnerable save until he misses it once. But you get that until you miss it. So he's very durable. He comes with a really nice ranged weapon. Has a couple good options for close combat. A giant pile of attacks, but he's still only toughness 3. He's super fragile, so you gotta kind of know when to strike with him.
And then we know of the weaknesses. They're paper mache. They're easy to kill in close combat. But is there anything tactically you should be ready for from the other team that you can really sort of deter or stop in its tracks before it happens?
Close combat from things you can't hurt, like big monsters. You got to kind of stay out of range of the infantry's small arms fire if you possibly can, because those small arms are going to bring your transports down just as fast as the big guns will. The transports are low toughness. They're just toughness 5, so even bolters are going to tear them out of the sky really quickly.
Also noticed in the game, we played a game like not even a day ago, he took out a Death Dread in one shot. That's 8 wounds, and the Death Dread isn't exactly a weak model.
That's more about application of the appropriate force. In that case, I was firing my anti-vehicle weapons, the Dark Lance and the blasters from the squads inside one of my raiders, right at the Death Dread, because I knew if he got in, he'd be tearing me up, and I wouldn't have anything I could do about it. So I had to do work on him quick.
Right on turn 1, after his first move, boom, a shot the Death Dread, 1 shot, 2d6 wounds, rolls an 8. I take the model off the table, and I weep in my hands. That was a pretty epic game.
It was fun.
All right, what tactics would you use in open play?
In open play, I can't reiterate enough. You got to stay mobile, stay light, and focus your firepower where it's going to be most effective. Eliminate the targets that are going to pose the greatest threat to you. In the case of our game earlier, that Death Dread was going to tear me up, so I took him out first.
Who was detrimental to take out, pretty much.
Absolutely.
And then in the gameplay, it's changed a lot with the index, because now you can add Eldar forces, and you can add Harlequin forces. So, like, is there anything you can really just sort of sneak into your core build with those forces?
I'm really excited about the options of tossing in some Harlequin characters. Shadow Seer gives us some fun little tweaks we can do with psychic powers. But really, being able to just have a solitaire in there. Harlequin Solitaire wrecks more face than anything in any other book. It's so devastating. And it's going to be really fun to just splash one in here and there.
All right, let's take this to the next level. Let's get ripped!
I don't know if you heard me counting. I did over 1,000. You have your ubulus muscle that connects to the upper dorsimus. It's boring, but it's part of my life. I'm just going to grab this shirt if you don't mind. Just watch out for the guns.
From that step, from that core, let's say core 1,000 points, what's the next step with your army?
Oh, and I'd probably spend 1,000 points just on troops and their transports, maybe an HQ or two. That is a solid base. From there, I really like the Scourges. Dark Eldar Scourges are flying, move 12-inch, heavy weapon infantry. So they're super mobile, but they carry a lot of firepower. They're also a little more durable than the standard warriors. They have a better save. They have an invuln save, and they still get that 6-up wound mitigation after the saves. So they're a splash more durable, but really it's about being able to take 4 of one kind of special weapon and deep strike them 9 inches from the enemy anywhere on the board whenever you want in the first 3 turns. That's powerful.
And then with these advanced units, what abilities tie them in? Like, if you could add another warlord, what would really buff out your guys?
My second warlord choice is definitely going to be a homunculus. He buffs.
That is now a show word. He boofs.
He boofs. Homunculus coven units like the Grotesques and Rax and the big pain engines, the Talos and Kronos. He's got a 6-inch bubble that he adds 1 to their toughness. So if you have a unit of Grotesques that are normally toughness 5, they're suddenly toughness 6 within a 6-inch bubble of that homunculus. And they still move 7 inches. They're strength 5. They have a bundle of attacks. They have a 5-weapon invuln save with,
nice.
And then a 6-up wound mitigation with 3 wounds each. They are the semi that's heading down the center of the board, but they're way faster than anything that's that heavy in another army.
If there's one unit you'd just like to see on the board, like the biggest, most probably expensive unit out there, what would you just drop on the board?
My next purchase is a Void Raven Bomber. It's the biggest Dark Eldar unit that Games Workshop puts out, and I kind of love them, but they weren't very good before now. And now they're really cool. They have a giant bomb that deals a boatload of mortal wounds when you drop it on a big enemy unit. So I'm digging on that thing a bunch.
That's awesome. Does it have any one of those like special abilities that really caught your eye? I'm like, okay, this is a game changer.
Not specifically a game changer. It's high firepower. It's the highest wound model in our codex,
Nice.
or in our index. It's